Now I've got to remember how to turn down my... Oh, wow. It's doing it again. Yeah. So, hello. Good afternoon. So glad that you're here with me today. We have a special report today that we're going to do because this weekend is the Oklahoma State GOP convention. It's like 2:00. I've got my hat on. I've been doing things today. So this is an entirely new look for me. So it's probably an entirely new day. So Miss Charity is on with me, and I'm going to bring her on here so we can visit. How are you today?
Hey, how are you, Jenny?
I'm apparently not doing so well with my words.
It's just a podcast. What do you need words like?
I know, really. And we were talking as you came on about the fact that I misspelled your name everywhere all over the internet.
No, actually, I think it's spelled L-Y more often than it's spelled L-I. So we're good. It's fine.
You know, it really is kind of an interesting spelling for that.
Very much so.
Yeah. So that's it. What's the etymology of that name? What's the background?
So it's my husband's name. And I am not sure. He thinks at some point they spelled it L-Y. I don't.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know.
I mean, that can happen because my grandparents were Morrows, but they came from Scotland and the original name was McMorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then they just dropped the Mick. Or no, sorry, Ireland, and they dropped the Mick. So
you're Irish. My family is from Ireland as well, Irish and German. But anyway,
so many of us.
I know that's true. It's kind of a dangerous combination, but that's a whole different story. No, the Lynch thing, it is very interesting. And my husband, when we got married, I said, this is great. So for the rest of my life, I'm going to be saying, no, it's L-I. And so I just let it go. I'd let it go.
That's actually kind of funny, though. Seriously, yeah,
no, it's
great. Now I'm
it's a true statement, right? Yeah,
no, I bet. So, hey, what are you doing this Saturday? You have some plans or something this Saturday?
I have some plans, right? So I am not passing any sanity test, but I'm running for the chairman of the Republican Party. We're having this huge convention. It's going to be fantastic. I want to say it'll be fun. It could be fun. It could also be, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I tell you what, it will not be boring. That's what I can promise. It will not be boring.
I would have to agree with that. None of the ones that I was ever, well, I don't know. It was boring until it wasn't. You know what I mean? I mean, they drag it on. Then suddenly it wasn't boring anymore. And then what's going on? So they've always been pretty exciting. So
yes,
originally you were not going to run for this. So what happened? I mean, what kind of?
Yeah. So, wow, I don't know how far back I should go on that. So I've known I was supposed to run for a long time. And I argued, actually 2 years ago, I had several people ask me to run. I thought about running 2 years ago, and I just didn't feel like I didn't think that I should. And so for 2 years, my husband, when we have dealt with stuff that is not the way I would have done it, he's like, well, you should have ran and then you wouldn't be dealing with this. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Oh,
So I did run for National Committee Woman last year and I
yes,
won
you did.
that. And then so I was like, okay, so what can we do? And John Bennett said that he would run. And I'm like, okay, that'll be perfect. And so John comes to me, probably a month or so into that. And he's like, Charity, I can't shake that. I don't feel like I'm supposed to do it. When I ran for rep both times, I knew I was supposed to. When I ran for chair last time, I knew I was supposed to. And I'm not getting a no, but I'm not getting the same peace I had before.
Mm.
And it just hit me. And I was like, oh, and I'm like, well, it's because I'm supposed to do it. And he said,
Yeah.
I've known that for some time. I've been waiting on you to know that. And so then I hung up on John and we are no longer friends. But no, I know that I'm equipped to do this and I know I'm supposed to. And I think that I know this is a God thing. And so we're just rolling with and being obedient to what the Lord says to do. A lot of stuff people don't know. My background has actually set me up perfectly for where we're at in the party. And so, we've got some challenges in front of us. I've always been great with conflict resolution. I've been great at handling organizations and large organizations and small organizations. I'm really good at
What
that.
is your
I've done
background? Tell me what your
fundraising.
background is.
What my background is. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I was born 500 years ago. No.
Wow.
Right. If you ask
look
my
great.
kids, they might believe that actually. They might. But my 7-year-old asked me at Christmas if I grew up in a log cabin. So yes. So I do have people that would believe that. And then I tell my kids when I was a kid, there were no cell phones and they just look at me like, was there electricity? I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, okay. Anyway, that's a whole different story. So I went back to school in early 2000s. I actually woke up to what was going on in the country around 2001 with 9/11. And I was like, this does not smell right. And so I started looking into it. I found the Patriot Act. I found the money. And I was like, okay. So I believe 9/11 was an inside job. I believe there are people in the government. I know that. And so I was called a conspiracy theorist for a decade. And that's okay with me. Actually, longer than that. I went to school, got a paralegal degree, then went for criminal justice, worked as a paralegal for a little while. And I realized I don't have the heart for that. And so I'm never going to go live in a big city because I have kids. That's just not my thing. Like I want a minimum a few acres, right? I'm never going to be right in the middle of the city. And so to do that, that means every lawyer I would work for is going to have to take some criminal cases or even the divorce cases. They were traumatizing me. And so I was a very good paralegal, but I quit the paralegal when my friend was working with Toyota. It was the largest dealership in Toyota. Garf Industries out of Utah owned it. And this was right outside of Indianapolis. It's the largest dealership in the Midwest, and they had a bad reputation. And it was my job to turn around the face of the dealership. And so we did that with I did stuff with the chamber. It took about 2 years. I did new owners events. And I also had to deal with people that were mad about their cars. I remember in the interview, they said, so what are you going to do if when you've got somebody that just bought this brand new car and they're mad, how are you going to handle that? And I'm like, well, right now I'm dealing with them looking at jail time and going through a divorce. I can handle them mad about a car. And I got the job. When I was a paralegal, the attorney would go and he would have me talk to people before he did so that he could get a calmer version of the person to talk to.
Interesting.
So anyway, so I did really well doing that with Toyota. We did these huge programs in the schools, got businesses on board, and it really did help change the face of the dealership in that community, which was huge. And then I moved to Oklahoma, and there were no jobs like that. The dealers here all of the dealers they want to be the face of their dealership, which is great,
Yeah.
but there is no PR, CRM jobs like that here. But there were several dealerships that didn't have CRMs and did not have strong internet departments. And so I went into those dealerships and I put in and implemented new CRM tools and taught their staff how to use them and how to get more sales through their internet department using the CRM tool, also pulling it from services. And so I did that. And then I met my husband and we got married, and we said, we just looked at the public schools and we're like, we don't want our kids to be there anymore. And so I quit working just to homeschool the kids. And now I would have been a school teacher in a different generation. I would probably go to jail in this generation, because I'm not going to put up with what my children do not talk back to me. My children do. Anyway, they do, but there's a consequence, right?
Right.
And so I frontline in that time. We became children's pastors. I was the office manager of a church. I learned a lot about QuickBooks, learned a lot about finances and nonprofit organizations, ran a large bus ministry with teachers and buses and parents and all the things. And then I was Dr. Simone Gold announced the legal team from America's Frontline Doctors. And I'm like, I can do that from home. And so I started working with her from home.
Oh, wow.
Working with America's Frontline Doctors was like kind of a church, as far as you don't want to let them know what you're capable of. By the time I left, I was the policy analyst, the paralegal, and the national coordinator for Citizen Corps. And so, but I started doing the brigades through that. The brigades were born in Craig County. That's just, it's organizing grassroots communities, people to take back their communities, and then giving them a way to strategize together and collaborate. And so I did that a year through America's Frontline Doctors. I was telling Dr. Gold about it at dinner. She said, that's amazing. After about a year, she said, okay, you got to go out on your own. She said, take the contacts, take the content.
Oh, wow.
Proud of you, but you have to run. And so the Freedom Brigades on their own were built. We are in 19 states. We have, I believe, 42 brigades in Oklahoma right now, in the different communities. And so we facilitate that with the grassroots movement and just helping people fight tyranny in their community. So, but I think all of those skills come together, and the different things I had to do in the different jobs, I think, are a perfect setup for what we need to do with the GOP right now. Our biggest thing is division. We're going to have to raise.
I was gonna ask you, because I was just wondering, what are we going to do with the G? So burning it down isn't
no, we can't burn it down.
Really? Okay.
I love
all
the
right
party.
Then
I think there are people, Jenny, like you, who have been in the movement and holding the line for us for so long. And then there are
done with it.
I know, but please. But I do think we can work together. Then there are people like me that I've always voted Republican. Okay. I've never missed a chance to vote, but I never got involved in the party until they stole the election in front of us. And then they shut everything down and told us to wear masks, which, by the way, I said no to. And so that's when I'm like, I have to get involved, because our Republican leadership, I'm not hearing them stand up for us. And so there's a whole
Okay, so that's one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, because as a party cynic at this point, that's why I'm like the perfect person to interview you, because I'm a party cynic.
I don't know about that, but that's a matter of perspective.
So I want to, because people will come back and watch this, and they're watching it right now, and I think some people don't know. And so I want to kind of walk through a little bit so that people have a basis point.
Sure.
So you are right now the state committee woman.
The national committee woman.
I'm sorry, the national committee woman, which means that you have the opportunity to go to the national Republican meetings.
Yes. And I have not missed any. I've gone to every one of those and done what we were supposed to do.
Dang, girl. That's a trip, because I knew Carolyn McClarty, who used to be the national committee woman for years and 15 years, is amazing. A friend. And I know she is amazing. And I know how hard she worked. So that's a lot of work. So amazing for you. Now, here's my question.
Okay.
At the national level, we've had issues as well with the GOP. I mean, there's
Okay.
been a lot of fumbling. We had Mitt Romney's niece doing it for years and never went anywhere. Then around the time that we had the election, we had two people in charge, and then Laura Trump left. And then, so I guess what I'm asking is, what is your feeling about the national level? And do you feel like once you're elected, Oklahoma can be a part of something maybe that's going to change nationally? Do you see a way to change anything nationally?
So my focus with the national, and by the way, the chairman will also sit in the RNC.
Yes, right.
My focus with the national committee woman was what was appealing to me was what we need to do in Oklahoma, and it puts you on every state committee. And so I was focused on that, and I thought, because I really have felt like the national thing was too far gone, and so I'm going to focus on Oklahoma, but I'll go represent there. But when I got there, I looked around, and there's 47 out of 163 that are new. And I'm realizing that this is happening across the country, where we have new people coming in saying, we've had enough of politics as usual, and we want this fixed. And I believe that the people, even leading the RNC right now, are doing the right thing. And we'll see how that goes. But right now, I have not been too upset. I wasn't excited about taking abortion off the platform. But I actually fought that. I was as loud and did everything that was in my capability to do anything about. And I do think that overall, I think that it's turning even at a national level. It's not just turning in
Really?
Oklahoma. There's 47 new out of 163. I do believe that's unprecedented. That's a pretty big deal. And they're all patriots. And many have been like, oh, we've been waiting for you guys to get here. Kind of like what's happening in the party. I don't believe that's why I think in the party, I think that it's going to be stronger, because the divide is not really as big as people think it is. Many of you guys have been waiting for us to show up. You needed more numbers, and we're here. There are a few that have been lying, cheating, and stealing, and that behavior will not be tolerated anymore. But I believe overall we can get behind and work together, because we all care about the platform. And we really don't have a choice, because if we don't make our values the focus, we're going to lose it. And so look at what's happening to Texas. I spent an hour speaking.
Oh, don't. Why did you do that to me? We were having a nice conversation.
We cannot let that happen here. And if we don't work together, it will. We
Oh, my
have no choice.
goodness.
We do not have the luxury of who you do and don't like. You don't have the luxury to be offended. If you are on the same side against what's happening, and against having Sharia law come and being forced on you, against having Marxists take over all of your land and all of your rights, if you don't want that to happen, you have to quit counting Cheerios and work together. And I do believe that most of the people that have been in the party a long time have been threatened by the new army. And the new army has blamed too much on the people that have been holding the line. And we need to realize we're not each other's enemies. There's a very small sliver of people that have been acting in a way that is not Republican, that is lying, cheating, stealing. That's the stuff we draw the line on. The rest of it is not most people in the party. And I think we can get on the same page if we'll focus on what we're fighting for.
Well, I'm just going to say this because it's my show, and I'll say whatever I want.
Go ahead. You muted yourself. Maybe God muted you. Maybe you were going to be mean. No, go ahead. I'm teasing.
Honestly, I've got a big machine next door. I've got a bird downstairs screaming. My husband was dragging. It was like nobody would have been able to hear you, so I muted myself.
Okay.
No, so, and it'll take me a second to ramp back up on what I was going to say. But I think the bottom line is this. Every time I've talked to you, every time we've had any conversation together, anytime we've been on a podcast together, anytime you are the calmest. I mean, your diction is even good. I mean, you're well-spoken. You are intelligent. I mean, I have yet to find anything that I it's like, oh, that Charity Lynch. I mean, I can't find anything. So what frustrates me the most is hearing people say, oh, that Charity Lynch. I'm like, have you talked to her? I mean, have you had any conversations with the woman? I mean, have you listened to anything that she said? I think that's the thing that makes me the angriest, Charity, and the reason why at this point, I just could care less, because if you find some people who want to do the work,
Mm-hmm.
who are intelligent and decent people, why talk them down? Why be ugly? Why I don't help me understand. I don't understand this.
So it's always that's always going to be that way. And anytime you're going to stand up for righteousness, you're always going to upset demons and other people. And I'm not saying everybody talks about me has a demon, but I'm saying there's not one person in the party that I have had a negative word with. Now there's been times I've disagreed, but I'm capable of disagreeing without hate. Like we can say, okay, you know what? You and I don't see eye to eye on this, and here's what I think and here's what you think, but I'm going to still respect you as a person, and we can still carry on and fight everything else together. Like, and so those people haven't had a conversation, because there's not one person that I have had an interaction with would that would say I was hateful to them. And so, it's that thing where
I don't get it.
If I were to, I think I said this on another show this week, I could save 12 kids from a burning house. And there are people that would whine that there were 3 cats I left in the house. And that's just the nature of humanity. And you just have to let it be and not let that bother you. Right. You can't,
Well, and I agree with you. And
man, I have like a
I-
hair. Sorry. Okay.
that's
It's bothering me. It's like right on
okay.
my nose. Okay.
Usually with me, it's hay. And by the way, we've got Patriot Mike B. Go Charity. Our party awaits your leadership. So that's on Rumble. And I've got another one here that I'm going to play over here in just a second so we can talk about it. I just want the nastiness to stop.
Sure.
I don't like the emails that are going out from the Cherokee Chickasaw warrior or whatever that is. I think the people who buy into that and think it's funny, I don't have anything in common with. I just don't. Right. It's not satire. It's just crapping on people. Right. I don't really see how that's helpful to anybody. I truly do. There's something just inherent in me when I hear you talk that I really believe that you have all intention to make the nonsense stop.
Sure. Well, you can't control people, so the nonsense won't stop. But I do believe that as the majority of people are working together and see it for what it is, it will get less traction and less attention. And unfortunately, humans like drama. And so most people thrive on it. And, you just have to ignore it and not give it energy. It's like protecting your heart. Jesus said, protect your heart. Above all, protect your heart. That means you don't focus on negative things. Philippians 4:8, think on things that are good, lovely, kind, of good report, virtue, praise, think on these things. And so if we're doing that, we're not giving the stuff that feels yucky. It actually affects your health mentally, physically. And so I choose not to do that because I know that it's protecting my heart to not feed into that. And the more people will realize that and get that awareness of how we're designed, and I think as we have a positive momentum, hopefully there will be less energy and that kind of stuff. But I don't know that we can ever control people to stop it completely. People
that's a fair cop. And by the way, you're not mad today because you didn't see SB 224 on the floor today, but we can talk about that later.
Okay.
So Alan says, when Mary Fallon was governor, my property taxes, state income taxes have gone up every year, including this year. This is with a Republican House Senate governor, lifetime Oklahoma Republican. I feel that the GOP is not helping working families. And at a time when the Democrats are in power, I don't remember taxes being raised every year. And I think I put Alan's comment up there because I think that is what a lot of people think. I'm going to speak for me and then you.
Sure.
I'm speaking for me. I have wanted the state Republican Party to come out and say, we don't do that in the Republican Party. We're not, hey, governor, guess what? This isn't on our platform. We don't raise taxes.
Right.
We're not big government people. We don't. And I feel like every year that I've gotten involved with the state GOP or with the county GOP or whatever, we're still.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done with, I mean, why have a party, Charity, if we're not, and we have a platform. We're not Democrats. Democrats don't even have a platform. They just do whatever they think they want to do in a day, right? We have a platform. Do you feel like it's the time now where we can say what a Republican is in Oklahoma?
Absolutely. And I think that we should. I think it's past time. That's why so many of the newbies are involved, because the party wasn't holding the platform. Jenny, I would rather stay at home and homeschool my kids and be left alone, but that is not what I'm allowed to do, because nobody is holding the line. We must stand up and say, if we don't draw the line, then there isn't a line. And you're right, we're not seeing that, and we're seeing more and more and more of that. And the problem is people don't love what's righteous, and they don't love God more than they love money and power, and they can be bought. And so, does the governor give money to the Republican Party? I'm not making any accusations. I'm saying, are they not saying anything because they're afraid of not getting funding? Are they afraid of not getting influence or not being invited to the big events? I don't know. But if you don't love God, if you don't love what's right more than you care about yourself, you can be bought and you will be bought. And I think we're seeing a lot of that in the party. There's a time where you say, hey, all this needs to be done behind closed doors and save the sake of the party. But that is not now, when they have come out so left and they have said, we're completely ignoring that. I think we have to call them out. If we don't draw the line, it won't be drawn. There's groups that want to make pedophilia something normalized. There's groups that want us to have Sharia law. I don't know, is it Sharia or Sharia? I say it both ways.
I call it Sharia, but I mean, I have
okay. So regardless, they want that to be norm. They want straight up communism and Marxism. And if we don't stand up and say, no, here's the line, then there's not going to be a line, and they're going to continue to push it. And so I believe it's the responsibility of the Republican Party to hold Republican legislators accountable, including the governor, including the president. And it's not popular. And the people that have been in the party for a long time, they get worried about it because that's not politics as usual, and you pay a price. I don't care. The price we pay if we don't do it is worse. And it's less of a, I pay the personal price for saying that out loud, but the society pays a price if I don't. And that's how we have to look at it.
That's always been my philosophy. I mean, I'll just be straight up. That's always been my philosophy, because if you don't, it's kind of like having a court system. Oh, it's kind of like let's go to the legislature. It's kind of like having a legislature. They go up there and they make laws. They hardly ever repeal them. They just continue to make them.
Right.
And then they don't have teeth in them. And then, so the laws don't really mean anything after we pass them. But we had this whole big kabuki theater drama about the whole bill, whatever that was. And then we have, even if it does have some teeth in it, we don't have a judiciary or even DAs who are going to prosecute the law. So if we just continue not to stand on anything, there's nothing to stand on it. I mean, we're just, it's like, it can't even speak. It's like, it makes me speechless because I don't understand any of it. And little kids will do whatever little kids think is right. That's what little kids do.
Right.
And if you don't educate the little kids, and sometimes that means, oops, that I got it on the bottom. If we don't educate little kids, then they turn into adults that will do anything, right?
That's right.
That's what we have in my estimation, in the Republican Party right now. We have a bunch of
But it's even worse than that because it's not just a little kid. It's you've got a real evil trying to come in and corrupt that little kid and trying to teach them wrong ways. And nobody is standing up and saying, no, 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 here's what's right. And everyone is so scared. The church is getting better, but the church isn't going to do it. And the church isn't drawing the line. And so the church that's in the party, most of us are Christians because our platform is based on biblical values. We have to draw the line. Who else is going to? We have to.
Well, let me ask you this. So if you, in your estimation, if you had, because I ran for chairman too one time.
Did you? Oh, no, I remember. I heard about that a
yes.
long time. Okay.
Oh, yes. Well, no, I ran for vice chair a long, long time ago. And then I ran for chair. I guess it's been within the last 4 years.
Okay.
And I had kind of an idea how to do it, but do you have an idea as to how to do it?
Do you know what you're doing, Charity?
No. I mean, I just, because
Sure.
I think,
so I think
I'd like to hear
So I have, and I'm a list maker, right? So I have written lists of this is what has to be done in the first week. This has to be done. And here's timelines. This has to be done. I do believe the first bit is going to be making sense of what's going on because there's not been any transparency. We don't know how many contracts, we don't know what expenditures, we don't know what those contracts consist of. And so I expect to spend the first week reading contracts and trying to make heads or tails of what's going on. And then we need to, I was also a single mom for a decade. And so I'm very good at, figuring it out when it's impossible. And that's what I think we're going to be doing in the beginning. We were going to have some fundraising things. I'm really excited about some of the people that have reached out to me that I know will help with fundraising that I know. And I have several ideas that I know will be big with fundraising and will encourage the party, to encourage engagement in the party, and hopefully give people some faith in the party to get them to want to be involved. And if we can do that, we also need to provide our chairs with some training. They don't understand. You can't just hand them the rules. People need that explained to them. And so, I think we should put together, we need to do training, but we should probably do a series of videos so it's set up for future chairs that come in and we're not just having to redo it every few years. We need to go ahead.
Well, I was just going to mention something to you. So
okay.
Years ago, I talked about doing a same thing.
Okay.
This is what I got. If we do that, the Democrats are going to know what we're doing.
What, by telling them how to set up a party?
By producing little videos or putting stuff out online that people can do.
I think you have to make it available to people. I don't see how it hurts if the Democrats need us to get organized, then so be it. I don't see how that, I think that's a farce.
I think part of the reason why I said that is I think people need to kind of,
God bless it. I'm so sorry. There's a hair. It's like tickling me. Okay.
That's cracking me up though, because I can't even see it.
I'm like, I know. And it's like, it won't stop. I'm like, I'm just going to ignore it. And I can't. And so, okay.
That's okay. We'll think you have something going on there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it'll start rumors. It'll be great.
No, it will not. But I think I wanted to put that out there because I don't think people really understand how ridiculous some of this stuff has gotten.
Right.
I want to do this. Well, but you can't because the napkins are blue, and you're just kind of like, where has all of this? It's simple nonsense. I mean, it just seems like you've got to cut through the nonsense and not allow nonsense. I mean, I don't know.
No, there's a level where it's like I was saying before about people that are going to cry about the 3 cats I didn't steal from the house or that I didn't get from the house when I saved 12 kids. There are some people that it doesn't matter what they say. I'm not
for sure.
I know that they're not on my side. They're not trying to make sense and they're not really offering anything. They're just wanting to be a problem. And so those people don't have a voice with me. But those, even if I disagree with them, if they're genuine, will always have a voice. Even if I disagree. And that's part of managing anything. You're going to have to deal with everybody.
But here's my question. How do you learn if you can't deal with people if all you deal with is people who agree with you all the time?
Right. That's it. And by the way, nobody does. So if you have a friend that agrees with you all the time, you have a liar. Nobody agrees with you all the time.
Well, those are my paid friends.
Your big friends. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
I know, but I mean, you know what I mean. It's true. You're right. It's a joke because nobody's gonna. I mean, and do you even want those friends?
No, and that's at some point, people have to grow up and realize you're not going to agree all the time, and that's okay. You have to respect that. Jenny, sometimes you're going to be wrong, and I'm going to be right, and that's just part of it. I mean,
I'm wrong a lot, so.
I'm just saying.
That's why we have our audience in the morning. They're very faithful to go, no.
They let you know. I know. Yes.
No. And then this is a good point by Gracie. Gracie says no one wants to do it, but everybody wants to tell you how.
Oh, that's true. There's always opinions that you should do it better and blah, blah, blah. And it's, you just have to my mother used to tell me that consider the source in everything that is said to you. And so consider the source and move on. Consider it if it's worth considering, ignore it if it's not, and so if you can do it better, run for chair next time. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, or help. I mean, and that's the other thing that I kind of complain about a lot is that if you're going to complain, but then you're not going to show up and volunteer, or you're not going to do this, or you're not going to do that, then why should I listen to you? I mean, really, honestly, then you're just yapping and there's nothing actually happening here.
That's right. That's right. And, you got to put your money where your mouth is, like you said. That's one thing I really do love about the Patriots in Oklahoma right now. They are getting stuff done. They are constantly, I mean, we have meetings at 8:30 once a week, and they don't miss it because we're teaching parliamentary procedure. We're teaching how to be effective, and they don't. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, look at what we've done with the primaries. Look at what I am just so floored by the group of Patriots right now. We have a bunch of doers, and right now is the time to get the party in order because we've got doers in the party that are willing to do it.
Well, I'm going to ask you a hard question, and I'm going to kind of put you on the spot. So forgive me up front, but I just kind of want to hear your thoughts on it.
Okay.
So when I was kicked off the state election board,
yes,
I tried to go to the party and say, hey, this is happening. I think this is an issue because I think it's a bigger overall issue. And I got nothing. Mm-hmm. I got complete silence. Nobody said anything. Do you feel like I was wrong to be irritable that the GOP, who was the one who put me in the position at the county in the first place, didn't have anything to say after I was fired for no reason than other than, complaining about them not following the rules and the law?
Yeah. So they put you in the position. They didn't have your back. They did nothing to help you. But once it was said and done, they gave you an award. I remember that. That is unacceptable. I was furious with that. I brought you on my show and we talked about it and put it out nationally because it was so wrong. And I still think that was it. And it makes you wonder the bigger question. So what happened to you was messed up on levels of messed up. But
levels of messed up. I love that. It's like a video game. Levels of messed up.
Yes, it is. There are so many different layers of what was wrong with that. Like that, we could talk about that for an hour. This was wrong. That was wrong that person did this. This was wrong that person didn't do this. But then what were they covering up? You just ask questions. That's the bigger thing that everyone should be furious about. What is being hidden from us? You were just saying, why is it being run this way?
Well, and I do think that and part of the reason why I asked you that wasn't even just to back me up, but it was to do this. Most people are not leaders. And that's not an affront. That's not name calling. That's not being ugly. I mean, you can't have everybody be a leader. Nothing happens. So most people are not. And when leaders stand up and do something and then are just have their back turned, whatever, it doesn't help people want to follow anybody because they're afraid if they do something and step out of line, then nobody's going to be there to back them up. And I think that's kind of one of the biggest problems I've had with the party over the 15 years I've been in and out and involved, is we're either going to be a party, we're either going to be a group, and we're all, what was it? Was it, who said we'll hang together or hang separately?
Oh,
Was that Adams or who was? But still in all, it doesn't matter. Patriots are going to hang, we'll either hang together or we'll hang separately.
Right.
But it would be better, I
Together.
think. I would enjoy being hung more if I was with my friends.
The places I go on the Jenny White show, the Rope Report. No.
But you know what I mean? Don't you feel like kind of as a party, then we need to be,
Yes. I think we need to have each other's back. And I think that the party should have made a statement. I think that they should have called out the behavior with you instead of remaining silent. They should have called out, what you were calling out alongside you. And that was what happened to you was wrong. But it's more wrong that they saw an injustice and didn't want to dig further and find out why. Our elections, that's a big deal.
Yes.
That's everything. And so, if we don't have our elections taken care of, there's no point in anything we do because they're rigged. And so I'm not saying that the Oklahoma elections are rigged. I'm saying, why can't we ask questions? Why can't we look into that? That's something the party should have been louder about.
And that's because honestly, it's not really even about me. It's about there's a problem there and nobody, and these are all Republican, this is a Republican, secretary of the election board. So, has an R by his name. It just seemed to me like if we should have accountability over every elected office. And even the appointed ones, if they've got an R by their name, we should still be expecting accountability for these people. And that's kind of where I was going with that. Alan says one other thing you might want to address. Individuals can't get involved in local politics due to the amount of money that it's taking to run for state or local office. Some of the state legislators raise over $250,000 to campaign that for a seat that makes maybe $46,000 a year is what he's trying to say. It's not that nobody wants to sit back and gripe. Nobody can financially afford to run a race to try to correct some of these problems that they're facing. And I do think I wanted to put that one in because I think what you're saying is going to help solve that problem.
I agree. Yeah. And if the Patriots, we proved in the primaries that you can outspend us by hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it doesn't matter if the grassroots decide you're the candidate and they get behind you. Our grassroots drove hours because we picked which ones were most strategic around the state and we gave them the manpower for free, and you'll win it at the door. And so I think that the whole game is changing politically. Now, not everything can always completely change, but the amount of money is going to matter in a race, but it is not the deciding factor anymore if the Patriots decide to get behind you. Look, we've had enough of this system. And so I would say fear kills more dreams than failure. And so don't let what you're afraid will happen stop you from just getting it done. And there are many things you can do in your community besides run for office. With the brigades, we put a man at every post and have people attending: city council, school board, county commissioner, and then they report back so we can know what's happening in that community so that when it's coming in, the wind turbines thing, that's happened because we had people at the commissioner's offices. We would have never known they were coming if we didn't have the brigades in those communities in the room when they said they were coming. And so it's so much more than running for office. But if you're going to run for office and you feel like you're supposed to, don't let fear of anything stop you. And if God's called you to it and it's going to require money, he will provide it. I've seen it many times in my lifetime. But it's not a money game anymore as much as it is who's got the manpower. Are you standing for righteousness? Because if you are, the patriots will get behind you.
See, I want you haven't convinced me not to
Not to
like
do,
you any. Not working.
well,
Oh, Alan did want to say it was Ben Franklin, so that was good. And Gracie said, if you stir the pot, you unveil the stink. And I do think that's the
that's true.
problem. I do believe we've gotten so complacent, and we probably need to get off here in a minute because I know you got other things to do, but we've gotten so complacent to the point where we don't pay attention. That's why we had you on originally to talk about the brigades,
Sure.
because I'm such a fan.
Hmm.
Such a fangirl. I mean, I am, because it works. That
It's working.
works.
Yeah, it's working because it's people, and it takes 4 hours a month of your time. So most people, we know our house is on fire, but we don't know what to do about it. And the enemy attacks everyone's time. And so they're like, I don't have the time. I don't know what to do. Well, showing up to your meetings and then reporting back to other patriots so you guys can communicate. That's 4 hours a month. And everybody can find that.
And that's the point. And I think,
Yeah.
and I kind of envision you doing similar things like that with groups, at the
Sure.
state level. So, I do you have anything more that you would like to say? I kind of led you down some interesting paths, but
No, that's fine. We talked
I
about getting
actually
hung
enjoy
together.
having.
That's
I actually just like visiting with you. So,
same. I've enjoyed it. So, that everybody's like, what are your 3 points? My 3 points would be, we've got to restore godly standard. I'm tired of being told you're not allowed to say that. You have to include everybody. I'm not saying I'm going to force everyone to be a Christian, but our platform is biblical values, and we need to be strong about that and quit apologizing for it. It stood the test of time. We need to have integrity and transparency in the party, and we need to make it a functioning party, which includes raising money. It includes taking care of some of the division, building the precincts, holding the legislators accountable, make it a functioning party. And so that's what we have to do. But I think we can get it done. I really do. I think we're going to take the party at the worst time, probably in the history of the Oklahoma party. And I do believe that we're going to make it the best party. I believe that. I really believe the Patriots are excited about it. We have a momentum, and the Oklahoma Republican Party is going to be something we're all proud of.
well, I want to kind of put the fine point on this. Our platform, our belief system is a winner.
Yeah.
It's been proven historically, time and time and time again. Smaller
Yes.
government, lower taxation, produces more liberty for people. More liberty for people produces more economic advantage. More economic advantage makes people, happier and healthier. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been proven. Why we want to stand back from that and go, well, I just am not sure about taxation now. Maybe the Chamber of Commerce should be making sure all kids know are funneled into a job. We get all these things mixed up, and I
Yeah.
think it's because we haven't had strong party leadership. And I
Well, I have to mention, because the Boston Tea Party was about 20%. They were taking 20% of their money, and they got so mad they threw all the tea overboard. Guys, they are taking so much more than 20%. You are a slave. Everyone should be tired of it and saying enough.
we don't even own our own home.
You don't even own your own home. Pay it off. We had a tax assessor come on our property, and I'm like, what is this guy walking around? He is lucky. My husband told me it was a tax assessor because I keep guns at various places of the house. You don't just come on my property. But
Yeah.
they felt like it could because they don't feel like it's mine. Guys, that's messed up. We have to take our government back and it has become the tyrannical thing that we left, and it's up to us to take it back. And we still have the mechanisms in place to do it if we will just get off the couch.
Amen. Well, I got to tell you, I'm sorry I won't be there Saturday.
I will miss you. It won't be as
I
fun.
know. And maybe I'll quit pouting after Saturday. Maybe the out.
We need you. Well, you're already in the fight, whether you like it or not. You are in the fight. You get out a lot of truth, and you provoke a lot of thoughts. So you don't really have a choice that you're in it on that level.
Well, so, but maybe you'll make me quit pouting, and I'll come back.
I would love that.
So, all right. Charity, honestly, I do enjoy talking to you.
Ditto.
You're just a peach, and I just really do enjoy it. So I do wish you all the. Always hate to say luck because I don't really believe in luck, but I mean, I
Right.
wish you all the best
Thank
for
you.
Saturday, and my prayers are behind your outcome.
Thank
So take care, and thank you again so much. I really do appreciate you being with us, and
Thank you
thanks
for
guys
having me
for
on.
watching, and thanks for the comments. I thought those were really great, and Alan particularly, thank you. Those were some really good questions. So bless your heart, and thank
All
you. And we'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. right here with Andrew Spino, who's going to talk about Helen Keller. You won't want to miss that.
That'll
So
be
we'll see you
awesome.
in the morning at 9. Thanks again, Charity. Bye.
Bye.